to the My Favorite Leading Ladies, and I'll be here with my favorite leading men video. And I'm going to try to get through this relatively quickly because it is a beautiful day, 70 degrees Fahrenheit and sunny, and I want to go read outside, get the boys running around outside. It's going to be fun. So number one on the list is Roger Hamley from Wives and Daughters. Fun little bit of trivia about this character, and that is he is inspired by Charles Darwin. Elizabeth Gaskell was friends with the Darwin family, and so when she came up with the character of Roger, she was thinking of Charles Darwin. So very iconic. And Roger, I just love his insatiable curiosity and just wanting to live life to the fullest and to leave the world a better place than it was before he was in it. And I really, really love how he is such a learner. He is a lifelong learner. And just like I said, his insatiable curiosity is very inspiring. Number two on the list is John Thornton from North and South. There are some great Gaskell men, and these are the top two. So John Thornton I really love because he has worked so hard to get where he is. Yes, he is a master in the book, and he is wealthy when there are people living in terrible, terrible poverty, but he has worked so hard to become that way, and it is not through being lazy that he has gotten that way. And I find him to be just so inspirational with how hard he has worked and just has not had anything given to him and has just created something really special because of all the hard work that he has done. And how then towards the end, I like how you do get this character arc from him. And towards the end, he's starting to really take into consideration, especially the character of Higgins, Nicholas Higgins, kind of his thoughts on how the masters can relate to their workers better. Number three on the list is Mr. Knightley from Jane Austen's Emma. So I typically, out of the Austen men versus Gaskell men, there will be more Gaskell male characters that I kind of admire more. But Mr. Knightley is without exception my favorite Austen man. And he is so thoughtful and such a empathetic person. And he is not, Emma is very like ready, fire, aim. And he does not want to make any decisions rushed. He's very wise. And I think he shows a wisdom beyond his years. And I love how when Emma is being ridiculous, he has a relationship with her where he can be like, Emma, you're being ridiculous. And he is in that position, and he does not coddle her. And she needs to hear that because she needs to grow as a character. Number four on the list, and I have to clutch my heart for this one, and that is Jo Willard from the Betsy Tacy series. Jo Willard is Betsy's romantic interest and inspired by her husband in real life, DeLoss. And I love his character because he is someone also who has worked really hard. Some of the other male characters in this series can seem a little bit frivolous because he is an orphan and he works a part-time job in addition to being a high school student. And so he feels much more adult than the other characters. But I also love that he still has pride and he wants to be thought very well of. And he wants to be shown esteem by his classmates. And you just see this throughout the series. And it does get a little bit frustrating at times because he can be proud to a fault. But I also love to see him not let the fact that, he doesn't have all the life circumstances that he would like be a reason that he can't just show pride in the schoolwork that he does and in the extracurricular things and then eventually the writing that he does. So I think he's just a splendid character. Number five on the list, and that is Adam Bede from George Eliot's Adam Bede. He is the title character, and I just think he's another one of those kind of salt of the earth, really hardworking characters. I think that's something that I'm really realizing I value in the different characters that I see here. And he is a little bit swept off his feet and a little bit, what do I want to say? Like can be swayed a little bit easily at the beginning of the book. And so I love, as you follow him as a character, he really does have this beautiful character arc, and you see him really wanting to take care of his family when certain tragic things happen. And then also kind of the different pathways that love takes him, and showing kindness to others, even when it's hard, even when you feel they don't deserve it, is something that you really see in the character of Adam Bede. And the next one, number 6, is Guy Morville from The Heir of Redclyffe. So this novel by Charlotte Mary Yonge, I really love. One of the reasons that I love it is the character of Guy Morville. And C.S. Lewis said that Guy was a character that he really aspired to be like. And something that I think I really love about Guy is that he does not let kind of the painful past of his family dictate what his character will be like. He knows that it is up to him. You can't blame things on the past, things from the past on making poor decisions in the future. It is up to you to make the best of kind of the hand that you've been dealt. Then it's up to you to decide what to do with that. And you see him, he's just very steady, steadfast, and he's a great character. The next one on the list is Holling Hoodhood from the Wednesday Wars. So I say leading men, he's a bit of a kid. This is a middle grade book, and I just reread it this March, and he is such a wonderful character because it does take a little while to kind of get more in his head. You know, it's a very humorous book, and there's lots of just really weird things that happen. But I love that over the course of the year, you really see Holling grow in his relationship with his sister, kind of in his understanding of how complicated that life can be, in his respect for his teacher that he spends this free period with, and realizing that, you know, she might not be kind of as fun of a teacher as he would like, but he really has great admiration for her. And yeah, just kind of, he really does, he gets a sense like not everything is black and white. And this is set during the Vietnam War era, so a really tumultuous time period. And he's a great character. So one of my all-time favorite books, The Wednesday Wars. And the next one is Samwise Gamgee from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I love the character of Frodo, and I think Frodo has a great burden that's been put on him, but I love Sam even more because of what a thankless job it is to be this assistant to the ring bearer, and how just utterly hollow Frodo feels inside by the end of this journey, and how Sam is just this constant companion and constantly the term that comes to mind is emotional labor. So anticipating others' needs before they know it themselves. He's constantly doing that with Frodo, and he takes his responsibility of, you know, being Frodo's companion so seriously. And he just does not take it lightly at all. And he is constantly thinking about the ways that he can push back the darkness a little bit, even when they're in such a terrible, terrible situation. The next one is Jim Hawkins from Treasure Island. And what I love about Jim is that he has just all of these ideas and notions about what it will be like to be on a voyage at sea. And then those ideas and notions are changed so much. And he is really challenged and put in a lot of unsavory situations. And he's so quick on his feet. And I love kind of what regard he has for him, the respect he has for himself, enough to know when he's not being treated fairly, and how brave he is. I just have so much admiration for him as a character. Treasure Island, such a good book, and I want to reread it, but I don't want to do it too soon. So I will reread it, but I want it to be the right time, long enough, you know, in between reading, so that I can be very excited about it. And the next character, I have the book right here so I can hold it up. And that is Red from Daughter of the Forest. I can't remember what his given name is, but his nickname is Red. He has red hair, so he is called that. And what a character. He is so tough and so strong, and living at, you know, in the woods in this Roman era Britain. You can't mess around. You can't not be on your guard constantly. And how protective he is of Sorsha, and how much he values her before she's even able to speak to him. Just this deep connection that they have just shows this deep intuition and how he can really internalize things, and just this, he's such a special character. And I love getting to spend time with him in this book. And he's so marvelous. So yes, I love just the chivalry that you see with him, and the deep connection that he and Saoirse have makes, they're just such a great couple. And the next one on the list is Daniel from The Rose Garden. Is the Rose Garden right there? It is right there. So the character of Daniel is from the past. And Eva, this is a time slip novel. So part of the novel, she is in the present. And then due to, she can't figure out, at certain points, she will just slip into the past. And so Daniel is from the past. And they kind of fall in love at first sight. But it's a really tumultuous time for her to be slipping back into time. There's lots of political upheaval. That's most of Susanna Kearsley's books are not set in times of political peace. And just what do I want to say? The moral integrity that Daniel shows through all of this, and how he immediately is incredibly protective of Eva, is so romantic to me. And I just find him such an upstanding character, and just so admirable how seriously he takes protecting her, no matter what it takes. The next character on the list is Inspector Armand Gamache from Louise Penny's Three Pines series. This man, I almost get teary-eyed whenever I think about him. He is such a good man. And that sounds so kind of easy to say, but that's just, he's such a decent person. And he is so misunderstood. He's up in a higher up position, and there is such a smear campaign against him through a lot of this series. And it's very frustrating to watch it and watch different things unfold and unfair accusations made against him, but how gentlemanly he stays through it all. That's another thing that he's not on this list, but Hercule Poirot. He is very finicky and nitpicky, but I love what a gentleman he is. And the courtesy and respect that Armand Gamache shows to people, even when they do not show it to him, it's not even a thing to him. You know, he is always a gentleman, ever the gentleman, and he loves his family deeply. He is so devoted to them, and he loves upholding justice, no matter what the cost. So yes, such a great character. The next one on the list is James Herriot from the All Creatures Great and Small series. And the author, I think his name is Alf White. James Herriot is his pen name. And so I think different names were changed for the series. And I just love what, how new he is to the veterinarian profession when this series begins, and how much he has to learn. But I love how over time you get to see him really fall in love with the Yorkshire Dales and the very salt of the earth people that are there, and how he comes to just really love and adore this place, and it starts to feel like home. And just how hardworking he is, and how much he really does care about animals, that even, you know, these calls where he'll get 3 a.m. and he has to roll out of bed and go take care of, you know, a cow that needs help, or etc. Many, many different issues. But he really just, at the end of the day, he loves taking care of animals. And so the, you know, different downsides to being a vet, the upsides definitely outweigh for him. And the next one is Aragorn from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I love how what like gentle, quiet strength Aragorn has. He is not this really kind of bombastic character. He doesn't come in guns a-blazing. He has this very quiet strength to him. And I find that so admirable, and how he really takes his calling so seriously. And yeah, there's just such a nobility about him. And it's just such a beautiful symbol, you know, this king who's finally come to his people, the return of the king. The symbolism in the Lord of the Rings trilogy is so beautiful. And so I find the character of Aragorn so inspiring, and I think Tolkien writes about him beautifully. The next character, and this is one that is very rough around the edges, and that is Squire Hamley from Wives and Daughters. He is not polished. He is not refined, but I know that Katie from Books and Things also really loves Squire Hamley. There's just something about him, because he has these really rough edges to him. It makes him very endearing. He's just like, oh, you're such an old grump, but I love you for it. And I think that he is just a character who, there are some more subdued characters in this book, like Molly and even Roger Hamley, and Molly's father, so that when there's this character who's so larger than life with his unrefined sort of qualities, that he just leaps off the page and he makes the story really come alive in the scenes that he is in. And I just really appreciate that about him as a character. So yes, he's definitely on this list. And the next one is not a human character, but a male rat, and that is Ratty from The Wind and the Willows. I loved this book so very much, and so I had to pick a character from this. And Badger, he's too much of a grump and he doesn't really have much warmth, whereas Squire Hamley, who I talked about, who is an old grump, he does have some warmth to him. Toad is way too frustrating, and Mole is a little bit too naive, and I realized that Ratty is definitely my favorite. I love the intensity in which he savors the delights that are there, a nice day out on the river, or savoring some really good pie or sandwiches, just how deeply he enjoys those things. And then Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird. Another person like Aragorn that has this quiet strength about him. And I love that this is a very, kind of real life sort of setting. And so these things that these heroic acts that he does, they don't seem heroic at the time. And it's only when Scout is looking back later on and just seeing the stuff that her father was made of. How when basically 99% of the people in the town, when he is defending the person that he is in the case that he is doing it, and have no idea why he's doing that, the integrity that he shows. And also the scene to me that means so much is when Jem gets to see, like, wow, I really didn't take my father that seriously, is when he shoots the mad dog. And Jem just never knew that about his father, that he was capable of that. So seeing like, maybe there's more to Atticus than I thought before. And the next character is Jim Glass from Jim the Boy. This is a duology, Jim the Boy and then The Blue Star. And I haven't talked about these books much on my channel, and they are so good. And at some point I would like to reread them. This is a boy who's grown up without a father, but he has 3 uncles who live very close by. So he has many father figures, and he doesn't, I don't think he feels that bereft, because he wasn't even born before his father had died. And he really has a really good relationship with his uncles. And it's just this very much kind of like the Waltons. That's the feel it has, this small town upbringing. And I love getting to see him grow into a man. In Jim the Boy, you really do see him grow into a man, and even more so in The Blue Star. So just getting to see the world through his young eyes, and then kind of as he grows in wisdom and experience. It's a really beautiful thing to see in that series. And the next one is Silas from the book Pony. So you can tell I've been reading some middle grade recently, and these characters have made the cut. Silas, I cried so much while I was reading this book. It was so beautifully done, and it's just a new all-time favorite book. So I love how devoted Silas is to his father, and how he will go to the ends of the earth if that's what it takes to be reunited with his father. And just how devoted he is to the people that he loves. And he really is such a thoughtful person, and he is really just wanting to go through life the best that he can, and to do good by the people that he knows. I know that's not the correct grammar, but it's just, I think it really applies. He wants to do good by those that he knows. And it's just such a beautiful, beautiful book. And he is what makes the story to me. And then 2 George Eliot characters to close out with. Will Ladislaw from Middlemarch. And Will, he doesn't get enough page time. That's why I was like, I don't know, should he? But at the end of the day, I've decided I love his character enough, because he is someone, there's a lot of characters in Middlemarch that are kind of in the upper echelons of society, and he does not have any of those benefits. His birth is very questionable by Victorian standards, And so he's had a bad time of things. He's had a bad go of things. People really make a lot of sweeping judgments about him, and they don't even know him. And I just really love his passion for art and certain decisions that he makes towards the end of the book. It's just a beautiful, beautiful character arc with him. And lastly, the title character of Daniel Deronda. Daniel, as Adam from Memento Mori put it when we read this a couple years ago, that Daniel is the heartbeat of this novel. And I think that Daniel he's so special. And I love that he is so set on kind of finding out where his family is from and wanting to really embrace his identity once he does find out, and that he's all right with being different. He's all right with not fitting in, if that's what it means, embracing this new identity. And I find it very refreshing, and especially in a Victorian novel when people are very, very kind of concerned with respectability and all of those things. I just love how he's like, you know what, forget it. Like, I don't care. I don't care. This is the path that I'm going to take in life, and it's okay. This is what was meant to happen and meant to be. So yes, those were my favorite leading men. Probably in a couple years I will update the list because there were other people who could have made the cut. So it was a little bit challenging to do that. I hope that you enjoyed that list, and I will be back with another video soon.